So the update is that we went through Ola's IVF cycle. She did really great. She was traveling quite a bit throughout, and then it worked out very nicely with her work schedule. That when it was time for her to be here and doing ultrasounds and monitoring, she was here. So she had to do her egg retrieval a day before was like average. She had a lot of follicles bordering on maturity for retrieval, and when they took them out the day, she had 28 follicles extracted and 19 that became fertilized. And then after that, there were 11 blastocysts, and we had them do the pre-implantation genetic testing. And from there, 4 of them were found to be chromosomally correct. And so we ended up with 4 Ola embryos. I think there are 2 or 3 4ABs and 1 4CC. I think I might have seen somewhere that potentially 4CCs are, they don't like to, they're maybe like backups, but I'm glad that they kept that one just in case. So we've got 4 from Ola. It went really well. She took it really well. She was at risk for OHSS. I think most people are. She was particularly so. She has a really high anti-Malarian hormone thing. But she did okay. She was very bloated for a while and in pain, but she took it easy, which I was happy about. And she did have to go and do some more work, travel for work, but she did okay, and she bled about 10 days or so after, so not too much longer after, and then she immediately felt better, so I was happy about that for her. But while she was doing her IVF, I was waiting on the results from my 5th IUI, and seeing her go through all of the shots and see that it was okay. And also they had charged us a lot less for the medicine that we had anticipated. So just the cost overall of her IVF, just like it wasn't as extreme as we're preparing for it to be. And so I thought, oh, well, you know, it's $12,000 for everything we have to pay the doctor, and we thought it would be $12,000 to $13,000 for the medicine, and it only ended up being like $3,000 or something like that. So it suddenly seemed more affordable, if one could say that. But I just had then decided that if I didn't get pregnant on my 5th IUI, that I would move to IVF, like I had sort of planned before I went on a different plan. Decided to do IVF, and I didn't get pregnant. I wasn't pregnant on the 5th IUI, and during that time I just said, yeah, I'm done. So while Ola was doing her IVF, it was like the same sort of day right after that we were able to get an appointment to talk about my IVF cycle. So we talked about that and got everything planned and prepared. And then my work schedule was such that and the doctor's schedule was such that I had to wait about a month and a half or so to start my cycle. At which point I was on birth control for like a month, which was silly and wonderful, and I was feeling like a woman. I think more than anything in this whole process, being on birth control made me feel like a woman. I felt like I was living some life of a 15-year-old that I was never. So that was quite cute in a way, of just feeling having a very adult, or what I would imagine was a teenage experience of being on birth control for the first time. So that was quite funny. Anyway, so I did that, and then it's time for IVF for me. So I am now 3 days in. Ola showed me how to prepare everything on Sunday. We started on Sunday, showed me how to prepare everything, and then Monday she did them for me, and then Tuesday I did them on my own. Feeling easier about it. It's somewhat complicated, but it feels scary because it feels really high stakes, and you like don't want to mess it up, and you kind of have to mix everything, and you got to transfer a lot of different things depending on the different doses, and it feels like if I didn't have Ola, I would feel really nervous about it. But Ola is a scientist and is really used to mixing things and measuring things, and so we were lucky enough to have that knowledge in our household of someone who feels really comfortable with all of this stuff. I did not feel as comfortable about it, and in fact, one of the hardest part about her IVF cycle was I did her trigger shot for her, and it didn't go well. I gave it to her in the gluteus minimus like you're supposed to. The nurse, I had her draw a circle for me and I put it in there, but I heard somewhere if there's blood then that's bad, even though it's a muscle, and I know now that like after reading steroid blogs that people are like, yeah, just shove it in there, it's fine. So that's where I got my intramuscular advice after the fact about did I do it right, was from steroid blogs. But anyway, I put it in the gluteus minimus and kind of that back area, and I saw a little bit of blood and I freaked out and I pulled it out, and then it was just like this whole ordeal. So then we just said, let's just do it in your butt and the maximus. So, but it was quite a bit more painful and it was a lot more bloody. So the trigger shot was the like kind of scariest moment. It also felt, again, just really high stakes. Like a lot of this feels high stakes. You're like, what if I did it wrong? What if all of this was a waste because I didn't do this like one thing right? But I know we're not the first people to ever do this, and so I have to imagine that if they send you home to do it on your own, that for the most part you're going to be just fine. Anyway, so now I will be on day 3. Today will be my 4th day of shots, and I hope it will only take me, I don't know, like 5 minutes or so to get everything ready and into my body. I am feeling okay. I'm feeling a little bit bloated, but I don't feel anything, nothing too remarkable at the moment. I'll have my first ultrasound on Friday, which I'm looking forward to see like what's going on in there. You know, I did a lot of ultrasounds and had a lot of information about my body and what it was doing, etc. through doing IUI, but I'm very disconnected to what's going on in my body. Also, like having been on birth control, I don't know what day I'm on my cycle. Am I even on a cycle? Who even knows? My period was super weird and like very brown tarry, which has never happened before. And I don't know if like, I didn't even realize that lots of different people on different medicines would have very different types of period and different types of blood. So that was really interesting. Anyway, so I'll do my ultrasound on Friday, maybe do it on Sunday, and then see when we'll do the retrieval. Ola will be out of town for a bit, and so either she will or won't be here on the day of my retrieval. So I'll figure out. We'll figure that out. So that is the latest. Ola did IVF, 4 follicles. I'm gonna, or 28 follicles, 4 verified, tested embryos, and I'm in the middle of it, and we'll see what comes.
nadprzyrodzone możliwości, że ktoś mi robił jakąś krzywdę, to żeby